The afternoon session in Brooklyn was magical. What will happen in the nightcap? We'll find out next. The quarterfinals of the Atlantic 10 Championship continues here on NBCSN with the number 7 seeded Richmond Spiders getting set to take on the number 2 seeded VCU Rams from the Barclays Center. Winner of this ball game moves on to the semifinals. We'll take on the winner of UMass and George Washington. That's in our final game of the evening. St. Bonaventure and St. Joe's have already locked up a spot in the semifinals. Hi, everybody. Good to have you with us tonight. Mike Corey, Stan Van Gundy, David Kaplan in a moment. Welcome to Brooklyn. The first 2 games of the day went down to a 3-point ball game. Hoping this will be kind of the same thing here today. VCU, Stan, let's start with them. They lead the nation in forcing turnovers, and Briante Weber leads the charge.
Absolutely. Look, Briante Weber sets the tone. Relentless full-court defense. He pressures the ball in-line to in-line for 40 minutes, and that fuels everyone else's energy.
111 steals for Weber on the season. Last night, Terry Allen propelling the Spiders as they advance.
Yeah, career-high 27 points, but he did a lot more than that. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. They've been looking for help for Kendall Anthony. Last night, it appeared in the form of Terry Allen.
Yeah, they certainly got it last night as you look at the starting 5 for the Richmond Spiders. Allen with the 27, the career high, but Kendall Anthony had 23 as well for head coach Chris Mooney, now in his 9th season for Richmond. They are at 19-13 on the season, trying to knock off VCU here in advance to the semifinals. They won this tournament in 2011 with the A10 champions. On the other side for the VCU Rams, we know about Weber, Jordan Burgess, the redshirted freshman, and Javante Reddick leading the team in rebounding and shooting 52% from the floor. Head coach is Shaka Smart. In his previous 4 years, they've won no less than 27 games. They're 24-7 so far this year. For more on the Spiders, let's go over to David Kaplan.
All right, thanks, guys. You know, with Cedric Lindsay, their best scorer, went down February 1st with a knee injury, done for the year. Everyone around Richmond's program said, who steps up? How about the littlest guy, 5'8" Kendall Anthony, who they only look to for instant offense? You ask anyone on their sideline, they said it's his team. He runs the show. Back to you guys.
All right, Cap, sounds good. We'll check back with you again shortly as this game progresses. Looking forward to VCU and Richmond here in game number 3 of 4, the quarterfinals of the A10 championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Kendall Anthony has been great against VCU. Despite 2 losses for Richmond this year, Kendall Anthony, 51 points in the 2 games. VCU's got to try to get a handle on the little guy.
VCU won one game by 11, the other one by 6. Paul Fea, Dwayne Gladden, and Eric Anderson are officials here tonight from the Barclays Center.
And that 6-point loss was even closer than that. Inside of 30 seconds, they had a Kendall Anthony runner and an Alonzo Nelson Adota tip to tie the game. So that game went right to the wire like our first 2 games today.
Richmond on offense here first as the VCU fans in the black and yellow surrounding this basket to our left and behind their bench straight across the court. Taylor trying to lob it in, looking for Terry Allen. Turnover. Chris Mooney leading Richmond in back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances in 2010 and 2011. The championship of the A10 in 2011. They went to the Sweet 16. School record 29 wins. This year, they've had to deal with their only 2 seniors going out. Cedric Lindsay injured after the February 1st game against VCU. And Derek Williams left the team for personal reasons. Rams get it back.
what you've got is you've got two great coaches, two great programs, but totally different styles.
Cedric Lindsey for Richmond tore his meniscus in both knees, so his career is over. The senior out of Washington, D.C. This team won 4 of their next 5 without him. Graham scoots in, doesn't go. Another offensive rebound for VCU. Weber knocks it in after taking some contact.
They go right into their pressure. Weber picks up full court. Now a switch on the screen, and they get Brandenburg on him. They're going to come and trap from the weak side any chance they get on the dribble.
These two schools separated by just 6.5 miles. This is the 69th meeting of all time between the two. VCU leading the all-time series 43-25, and what do you know, a steal by the nation's leader, Briante Weber.
3.6 steals a game is just phenomenal, Mike. I mean, you look in most leagues, if somebody averages 2, they're going to lead the league in steals. 3.6. Right here, coming from behind, he reads the pass and takes it down, dunks it to give them a 4-0 lead.
And here's something that you would think about. Okay, they put all this pressure on all the time. It's relentless. How do they not get in foul trouble? How are guys not picking up fouls left and right? Briante Weber just picked up his first. But the thing is, Stan, is that they put so many different guys in. There isn't one player on their team that is averaging more than 28 minutes a ball game, which, you know, you can't say about a lot of teams in the country.
No, look, he uses a lot of people. He tries to keep people fresh because Shaka Smart wants his team going at full speed for 40 minutes.
Sparrow missing a 3. 4-0 already, VCU. Weber.
You see Richmond in their defense. Most people call it a matchup zone. It's a lot like a switching man-to-man. But Weber getting in the paint, he's off to a very good start.
Darn right about that. 6 points, 3 of 3 from the field with a steal. Does have one foul that he picked up just a little while ago. Trey Davis. And that's out of bounds to VCU.
Here's Briante Weber. He gets an angle, nice spin, and then great patience to get his feet set and knock it in. And then right here, the block by Reddick, trying to figure out how that's VCU ball. We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah. And Richmond needs all the help they can get here, at least right at the start. Quick 6-0 deficit. Crowd behind the Rams. And there it is, turnover. As Mo Alley Cox, who just checked in, throws it away. He's been a big addition, redshirted freshman out of Middleburg, Virginia.
Oh, yeah, Mo Alley Cox provides them with great energy and emotion. Very important for Richmond here to use the press as an opportunity to score. They did that well in the last game, but they've got to take care of the basketball. Richmond would like a low-scoring game. 56-50 the last game. They'd love it to be like that again, only with the results flipped.
Chandre Jones is hurt, the freshman for Richmond. And there, you got the elbow.
And now they're going to check again on the flagrant foul. Clearly not a flagrant foul. It's his momentum going. A good foul call, though.
Well, Melvin Johnson was the player for VCU driving in.
And, of course, we've got Dayton fans back at their hotel watching our broadcast thinking, oh, yeah, now that's a foul? We couldn't get that call a couple of hours ago? He got him pretty good here, Doc. There's nothing intentional about that. That's a foul. Let's go the other way. That's not flagrant. My opinion, of course, and the referees usually don't listen to my opinion, but that is my opinion. Nothing flagrant.
You're referring to the play that we just had, the St. Joe's Dayton game. It was Langston Galloway that had pushed off with a forearm, stepped back, drained a 3, and that's how St. Joe's was able to go on and win it. They're in the semifinals versus St. Bonaventure. So they are reviewing this here, this play from Melvin Johnson. Chris Mooney.
Looks like they're calling a flagrant one, which Melvin Johnson's astounded. Look, I understand he did hit him. Maybe that's what John Adams and the officials across the country want called, so I'm not going to say the referees are making a mistake. But look, Melvin Johnson's just trying to drive the ball to the basket.
Huge point of emphasis, though, this year with the elbows, excessive in nature. You know, whether he really meant it or not, he gets it right up in there in Chandre Jones's face. Jones goes down, so they call the foul. And it's a flagrant one, which is 2 shots and the ball. A flagrant 2 would have been 2 shots, the ball, and the player would have been ejected, so no cause for that. But Chandre Jones has one more free throw coming up, and Johnson picks up the foul.
Richmond gets on the board.
Shaka Smart almost kind of like, don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to worry about there. I don't think there was anything intentional in what Melvin Johnson did. The referee's going by the rule book. Can't argue with them. That's a great job by Mo Alley Cox to avoid the foul. Getting his hands straight up and down. A good Roy Hibbert imitation.
Reddick, jumper no. Rebound, but on the baseline out of bounds is Chandre Jones after he shook off the elbow.
Look at this defense by Mo Alley Cox. Instead of coming down and trying to foul, he just backs up, gets his hands up in the air, is actually moving away from Terry Allen as he goes up. Very good defense.
Javante Reddick heads to the bench and takes a breather, and this is what we're talking about VCU being able to put so many different players in and out of the ball game, keeping everybody fresh, keeping everybody out of foul trouble because of the pressure defense that they put on. 4 minutes gone by, 6-1 VCU. This is Lewis, Jaquan Lewis. Now for Graham. And Travion Graham, the junior, for 2.
Well, and this is how Shaka Smart attacked all those switches the last game. He got Travion Graham up top against the VCU guards who were much smaller, and he backed them down from the top. Excellent strategy. I told Shaka yesterday, I wish I had been smart enough to figure that out when I was playing against switching teams. You learn something every day in this business, and Shaka taught me a good lesson.
Allen blocked by Mo Alley Cox. Richmond's Anthony gets it back. That shot no good, and now Richmond is 0 for 6 from the field. 2 turnovers so far to start as Brandenburg drives. That doesn't go. Rebound pulled home by Jones. It's tough sledding here for the Spiders to start. Anthony will draw the foul. And it'll take us to a timeout, a chance for the Spiders to regroup a little bit down 7.
Yeah, this is what I like. Travion Graham just backs down from the top on Chandre Jones, uses his size, and goes over the top.
Five minutes in, the Rams on top 8-1 and doing what they do best with the nation's leader in steals, Briante Weber.
Yeah, but a great spin move here in the lane. He loves that right to left spin, and then what he does best, the steal, of course, and coast to coast. And then we see almost an identical move. Little spin move in the lane, takes an extra count to balance up and knocks it in. He's off to a terrific start.
Shaka Smart, head coach, says he's the most energetic person I've ever met. He certainly has one of the good ones here. As a junior at Chesapeake, Virginia, and here is the tournament profile for VCU. Ranked number 23 in the country right now. Finally, some of the people who vote for the top 25 recognize that this team should be in the top 25. I mean, they have won 27 or more games each of the last 4 seasons under Shaka Smart. They're 24-7 now. I mean, their history of what they've done and what they continue to do this year has just been outstanding.
Yeah, look, what Shaka Smart has done, Coach, astounds me. It really does. To average 27 wins a year for 5 years, I mean, just to have one 27-win year is terrific.
Nice shot in the corner and a 3 for Jones. And Richmond really needed that. Lead is now 4. And the freshman from Houston, Texas, gets their first field goal up and in.
Both these coaches, Mike, what is really outstanding about both of them is they've both created programs with an identity. If you're a college basketball fan, you've ever seen them, you know what Richmond is all about. You know they're going to run and use the Princeton offensive concepts. You know they're going to be in that matchup zone. You know their style of play. Shaka Smart and VCU, the same thing. You know about havoc, full court pressure the entire game. Their players know exactly what they want from night to night. Creating an identity is one of the hardest things to do, and both these coaches have done that.
Well, they really have. You got two of the top defensive teams in the league, in Richmond and VCU. Richmond number 2, VCU number 3.
And they just do it totally different ways.
Right.
VCU slows you down with all of those switches in the matchup zone. They make you tentative. They keep you on the perimeter. And VCU does it just the opposite. They speed you up and make you play faster than you're comfortable playing.
Taylor gives it over to Trey Davis. Kendall Anthony. And he's got a real tough job here tonight. Fouled by Brandenburg because there's just not that many other ball handlers that, you know, Richmond has or can really go to, you know, off the bench. And he's been asked to carry the load.
Oh, he really has. And he's done a great job for him, even against VCU. But now you're talking about back-to-back nights. They had to play last night. And underrated aspect of VCU is their half-court defense. Everybody talks about the pressure, but Richmond, in their last meeting, actually had great success against the pressure, actually attacked it to score. Richmond had a very difficult time getting decent shots in the half-court. VCU a lot better there than people realize.
Anthony couldn't get it to go. Here's Briante Weber in a hurry into the front court. Trying to get it down low inside for Jared Guest. Instead, it's a 3. Up and good for Melvin Johnson.
Just a great read there by Jaquan Lewis, though. He saw the help down in the post on Jared Guest. Skipped the ball to the weak side to VCU's best three-point shooter. The 6th man of the year in the Atlantic 10, Melvin Johnson, who actually started tonight. But just a great read by Jaquan Lewis. Nobody will consider that a great play, but that's how you win basketball games. You see it right here. We can't really see the help in the post, but you see Sparrow coming out from in the lane. He was trying to help prevent the pass into Guest. Great read by Lewis to skip the ball weak side.
There was a foul on the offensive end on Kendall Anthony, who picks up his first team foul for Richmond in this first half. VCU has 4. We talked about Johnson being their best three-point shooter. You're right about that. 39% from the field, from the Bronx, not far from here, obviously. 63rd three-pointer on the season for Johnson. Good for the team lead. And just a sophomore.
It's very important for them that he get going from 3, because this is a team that can struggle to score in the half court. They really need his shooting. And by the way, the illegal screen call on Kendall Anthony, when you're 5'8", 140, you should be able to screen any way you want to.
That's kind of a tough one there.
Yeah.
Traveling violation on the attempted spin move by Javante Reddick, and it'll take us to a timeout. VCU on top, 11-4. Early action here from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Winner to the semifinals of the A10 championship.
Guys, Shaka Smart asks his team before every practice, every game, like he did tonight. He says, do you want to press tonight? Well, guess what? I said, who's the leader of that whole deal? He said, Briante Weber, because he's genetically designed for havoc. My question for Stan is, what happens if they say no? Back to you guys.
If they say no, Dave, they wouldn't be at VCU. They'd be playing somewhere else. Look, that's what I talked about. These two coaches have each created an identity. If you go to VCU, you know what it's all about. You know what to expect every single day, and those guys would never say no.
Here's Wayne Sparrow in the backcourt in some trouble and call for traveling.
What VCU has been in so far until that possession is their fist-up defense, where they're going to basically trap the dribbler from the weak side. This time they trap the first pass inbound, catch Sparrow by surprise just a little bit, and he ends up with a travel.
So many variations, like you're talking about. Sometimes they'll bait you into thinking you're open, and they'll say, oh, we're going to take it off. And you're right, they're trapping the next guy or the next pass. Anthony the other way after the VCU miss, and Kendall Anthony slices in for 2. 5-point lead for the Rams inside Wreaking. Got his own rebound and is fouled. Richmond can't let that happen, Stan. I know they don't have quite the size, and they got to box out and get on that rebound.
Well, and here's Kendall Anthony, full court, coast to coast, great finish with the left hand. But you're right, Mike. Richmond has to be able to hold their own on the boards. They did that at home the last time out, March 6th. They only got out rebounded by 2. They're not going to dominate the glass, but they've got to hold their own.
It's tough because they're last place in the Atlantic 10 in rebounding. As Wreaking gets the first. Tomorrow, Major League Soccer is on NBCSN as Clint Dempsey leads the Sounders against his U.S. national teammate Michael Bradley in Toronto. Tomorrow at 4 Eastern on NBCSN.
I'll take Toronto in that one. But I'm only going to give you half a goal on that one.
Half a goal.
Yeah,
I got 1.5 in the Man U game.
Yeah, Man U, though, is Man U.
What a block by Wreaking with a call foul as well as Terry Allen worked it in for the Spiders.
Okay, let's watch here. Great pass by Anthony. Terrific block, but he does get him with the body. I guess that's a good call. I'd like to let them go a little bit because I think those are the most exciting plays in the game. I don't think it had a lot to do with the shot, but again, I can't argue with the referees. They're calling that the way they've been told to call it.
Previous possession where Richmond fouled Wreaking, it was Alonzo Nelson Adota that picked up his first. Now Wreaking picks up this foul. A lot of times, sometimes you'll see a clean block and you end up calling a foul and everybody's irate because you got all ball. Well, how about the body? Okay, you also can get them with the body. You can't plow them over.
No,
make
and
a clean
they
block
should
and be
definitely
okay with it.
call that.
Yeah.
But some of those, I think the shot was already gone. It's released. He's up. He blocks the shot. It's the follow through on the play. Those are the ones I'd like to see him let go. But again, they're calling it the way their supervisors want the game called.
5-point lead for the Rams coming up on 11 minutes to go in this first half. Wreaking posting up. Here's Melvin Johnson trying to feed it to him. No, offensive foul, says Dwayne Gladden. And that's the second on Wreaking.
Wreaking a little too aggressive, sealing up in the post. See on Davis, pushes him off a little bit as the ball is in the air. You try to teach guys to keep both hands up as they're sealing and just use their hip to displace the defender. When you bring that other arm down, it's a lot easier for the referee to see.
Yeah, that was 6'9", 250-pound Wreaking going up against Davis at 6'5", 200. And they call him for the second foul, so he's out. On the drive, Anthony. Weber rips it away. Finds a streaking Melvin Johnson, who kicks back to Graham for 3. And Weber, another offensive rebound. Weber, double clutch, count it, and 1.
Now, Weber is not usually the guy who carries the offensive load for this team. He only averages 9 a game. He's going to the line to get to that right now.
And they call it against Alonzo Nelson Adota, who picks up his second, the big guy for Richmond.
Their main shot blocker.
Right.
So he is a loss. Played very, very well in the last game, I thought, against VCU. 9 points, 5 rebounds. They need his size in the game. That's a tough one for Richmond.
Just like you said, Weber right at his average already with 9 points. 9 of VCU's 16, doubling up the Spiders right now with 10.5 to play in the first frame.
Richmond well aware. Chandre Jones just did a great job. The entire way up the floor, he's well aware that VCU wants to trap from the weak side. He kept his head up. He's looking for the weak side defender the whole way. Gets the ball up the floor without a problem.
Malali Cox knocks it out of bounds. There's Weber with the 9 points, 4 of 4 from the field. The rest of the team, 7 points, 2 of 12 shooting to start.
Yeah, he's about the only guy in the building that's really got it going right now. No one else on either team is off to a great start. But part of the reason, as you said, Mike, is these are two of the best defensive teams in the league. So it's not going to be easy to score.
Showing you why again. Trevion Graham got into the passing lane that time, and Weber finishes. Listen to this VCU crowd.
VCU with a very large contingent here and very enthusiastic support of their team.
Allen for three and quiets the crowd for the moment. Terry Allen, a sophomore, trying to pick up where he left off last night with a career-high 27.
Yeah, and he hit 3 threes last night. He came into the tournament having made 9 the entire year. We've now seen him hit 4.
How about Weber skying for the offensive rebound? We've got a whistle and a traveling violation.
Briante Weber is everywhere. Here he is coming up off the loose ball. Spin, crossover, great finish. He's doing everything. And then we just saw him flying for a rebound. Richmond will be glad to see him go to the bench for a rest.
Just said Weber skied for that rebound. He's got a 48-inch vertical. Turnovers are actually even at 5 apiece. Anthony taking on all comers. No. Rebound Graham.
VCU doing a good job of not fouling, just staying straight up and down and making Anthony take tough shots.
Brandenburg missing the 3. Rebound Allen. Here's Chandre Jones. I mean, really not all that bad if you're Richmond right now, kind of trying to settle in, down by just 7. It's not, that bad considering you got to take a minute here to kind of figure out what they're trying to do against you.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, they're fighting hard. They're staying in the game on the defensive end. The problem is not that they're missing shots. The problem is they're having a very tough time finding good shots out here. VCU's defense is outstanding, and they're taking tough shot after tough shot.
Jump ball, possession arrow, favoring VCU. Mullally Cox and also Trevion Graham go out. Melvin Johnson, Jared Guest back in.
VCU's style of play and their depth in combination tends to really wear on opponents. Even if people stay in the game with them early, they have a tendency to wear teams down in the second halves because they're fresh, they use a lot of people. The other teams don't have as much depth. It gets difficult.
Burgess, rebound by Allen. Kendall Anthony. There's Allen. Terry Allen. Nice take by Terry Allen for 2.
Yeah, very quick drive to his left hand and the finish with the left. We started to see more things out of him last night, and it continues tonight.
Brandenburg going back door for the basket. That's Rob Brandenburg. Anthony fakes on the 3, steps it in, 17-footer, in and out.
Didn't really get his feet set well on that one. VCU's defense so good that it forces you to rush some shots.
VCU has already substituted players 15 times. Richmond's had 5 substitutions in this first half. Just to go on to your point, Stan, everybody's staying fresh. Traveling violation on Melvin Johnson. It'll take us to a timeout. VCU on top by 7. Briante Weber coming right at you as the Rams lead by 7. Well, here's the Webster Dictionary definition of havoc. Wide and general destruction, great confusion and disorder. That about kind of sums it up for VCU, right? Also, Shaka Smart, here's his definition of havoc for you.
Right, Briante Weber, the leader of havoc, but everybody swarms to the ball. very difficult to play against. I don't think Richmond's confused. They know how they want to attack it, but there's certainly a lot of disorder around here.
VCU with 8 offensive rebounds as well here in this first half. They forced 5 turnovers. They have 2 steals. They're the nation's best, averaging 11.5 a ball game.
And they have more offensive rebounds than Richmond has total rebounds right now. They've been dominant on the glass. That's a big difference in this game right now. Look, Briante Weber, the only guy on either team who has it going offensively. He's 5 for 5. So everybody else on the floor, 7 for 23, 30%.
How about Spike Lee in the house here tonight?
Supporting VCU, but wearing that Knicks hat. Look, not even knowing Spike real well, Briante Weber is putting on a show. Not even knowing Spike well, but I know this about him. He's a very loyal person, because to continue to wear that Knicks hat everywhere you go, with everything going on with that team, you have to be very loyal. And as our producer just noted, also very courageous.
I was going to say, it takes courage. Well, Spike Lee last year in February had a speaking engagement on the VCU campus, as Chandre Jones puts it in. So after that engagement, he said he wanted to go to a VCU hoops practice. He asked if he can go to one, and quickly became friends with Shaka Smart. And now the reason for him being here tonight wearing the VCU sweatshirt and cheering on the Rams, as Melvin Johnson hits his second 3 of the night. And it's their largest lead so far at 11 points for VCU. 6 minutes to go, first half.
Look, VCU shoots a lot of threes. They're always good because of their defense. When the threes are dropping, then they're an outstanding team.
Chandre Jones gets it to Anthony. Anthony all the way underneath the basket for Taylor for 3. Not even close. Lewis feeds a cutting Mo Alley-Cox.
Chris Moody needs a timeout there. Look, they have got to get back defensively. They cannot afford in this game to give up easy baskets in transition, because a guy like Mo Alley-Cox outruns you.
Spike Lee likes it. So does VCU. They're up 13. You look around, Stan, sometimes you wonder whether you're in Richmond or are we in Brooklyn, New York, you know, with the fan support that VCU has when they go on the road.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the fan contingent that they have here tonight, and Spike Lee right along with them. Spike very happy to finally be able to watch good basketball in New York City.
I'm going to lay out after that one.
Because you still have to be here tonight, right Mike? Right. Yes. I do too. I should be a little smarter than that, but I've always gotten myself in some trouble with comments. Why stop now?
Here's Terry Allen. Out to Anthony, and that's going to be an offensive foul.
Well, I think this referee crew, they watched the end of the Dayton game, and they said, we may miss some calls. We're not missing any push-offs. They got that one. Archie Miller right now probably sitting in his hotel room watching this game and saying, you gotta be kidding me. That little push-off's a foul, but what Langston Galloway did was not.
Anthony with his second. Here's the three-pointer. Good for VCU's Graham. Everybody get into the act now from the outside. Graham's got a 3. Weber's got a 3. Melvin Johnson has 2 threes. 13-2 run. And missing a 3 is Alonzo Nelson-Ododa.
Imagine, though, what Richmond's up against tonight. You're playing on a back-to-back against a fresh VCU team. Had the day off yesterday and plays at this pace. And Richmond, the only team in this tournament without a senior.
Yeah, that's tough. 12-point win for the Spiders over Duquesne last night. As this ball gets knocked out of bounds. Stays with the Rams with 1 on the shot clock. And we'll come back. 3:44 to go. First half from Brooklyn. VCU well in command. Back in Brooklyn, VCU by 16. Mike Corey, Stan Van Gundy, and David Kaplan is with a special guest.
Spike Lee, you have a Knicks hat on and a VCU shirt. What brings you here to the Barclays?
Well, I'm a big Havoc fan. Coach Shaka Smart, and the Barclays Center is 4 blocks from my office, and I grew up in this neighborhood. So this is the second year for the Atlantic 10 Conference, so I'm here for 2 years in a row.
Stan Van Gundy just said it. You must be nice for you to be here to see good basketball in New York.
Thank you, Stan. Well, it's been a brutal season for New York Knickerbockers on the blue, but Tuesday it's supposed to be a big announcement.
What's your thoughts on Phil coming here?
Look, anybody with Walt Frazier's roommate has to be a great person. I grew up, Walt Frazier, my favorite player.
And is Carmelo headed to Chicago?
People in the Windy City, it's not going to happen. With Phil Jackson signing Tuesday, you have to go after somebody else.
Best of luck to you. Thanks for coming here.
Thank you. I just hope Derrick Rose is ready. I really want him to, I love Derrick, and I hope that he comes back full health, full strength next season.
Enjoy your Havoc.
All right, thank you.
There he is, Spike Lee. Let's go back to you guys courtside.
All right, great stuff. Thanks, David. Thanks to Spike. As Trevion Graham knocked down a shot for the Rams. They get 33-15.
Yeah, it's really getting tough for Richmond here. They're just struggling to even get a good shot down here. They get one here. Nice kick out by Terry Allen. Drew the help. One of the better looks they've had. And Alonzo Nelson-Adota knocks it in.
Three-pointer for the sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia. He had 13 points and 7 rebounds in the game yesterday. 15-point game right now. Foul on Richmond. Coming up in the college basketball halftime report, Dave Briggs, Donnie Marshall in the studio. Some of these finishes in the Atlantic 10 in our first 2 games have been spectacular, and they'll show them to you coming up. We got an upset in the ACC. Big Ten tournament's going on as well. Stay tuned. It's all coming up on the college basketball halftime report with Dave Briggs and Donnie Marshall. 2 minutes and 46 seconds away of game clock from those guys.
Yeah, and if you're Richmond right now, if you could just get this back to 10 or 12 at the half, you'd feel really good going in. Need a little bit of momentum going into the locker room. Have people coming out in the second half with a positive approach.
We got a foul now going the other way here. VCU.
And we're going to be shooting, which is good for Richmond because they don't have to attack that VCU defense. They get a chance to score without having to create a shot. So that's a good thing for them right now.
Recapping the fouls, Josh Jones picked up 1 for Richmond, and then now this foul here. As Alonzo Nelson-Adota to the free throw line. And get it to go.
No, and they need all of those right now. It's hard to score.
Albert Johnson missing a 3. Trey Davis comes out of it. But the ball goes right down the lane, got it stripped. And now on the deck, fighting for it for VCU. What an effort by Doug Brooks.
Doug Brooks has played fewer than 100 minutes this year, but all of these guys work every day playing this style. When he gets his opportunity, he brings great effort. Tremendous job coming up with that loose ball.
There's 21 games for Brooks, averaging just over 4 minutes a game. And there's Anthony going down, trying to take the charge. No call. Melvin Johnson. This is the 3. Another offensive board for the Rams.
I like Shaka Smart's strategy against the switches. Get Graham against a guard and let him back down.
Briante Weber then puts his left hand up to his ear and motioning to the crowd. 35-18 VCU.
Briante Weber only down 2 right now. 18-16 to Richmond. But look, this is a guy who only averages 9. We've seen some great individual performances in this tournament so far, and we're witnessing another one right now.
There's a perfect 7 for 7 from the field. Comes up with another steal. Behind the back to Graham. And he got fouled.
It is the Briante Weber show right now at the Barclays Center. That brought Spike Lee to his feet over there behind the VCU bench. The steal, could have taken this one himself. Tremendous drop off to Trevion Graham, going hard. And then the one before, he just backs Chandre Jones up, creates space, 15-foot jumper.
Fouls on Trey Davis, his first for Richmond. 16 fouls, a 2-shot foul though. Here's Graham, the junior out of Temple Hills, Maryland. First team Atlantic 10 selection this year, 10th in the conference in scoring. I say not a guy that really speaks up all that much, but certainly leads by example. And that example is the leading scorer for VCU with over 15 points a game.
Yeah, their best offensive player. He can shoot the three. He can put it on the floor in attack. Very versatile guy and the most consistent offensive threat they have.
It's a 14-3 run by VCU. Relentless. Pressure still on. And they come up with another steal. Guest. An offensive rebound by Brooks, and there's a foul.
Doug Brooks, here's the steal by Guest. He goes to the rim. Instead of just watching, Brooks follows it up, gets the foul. Shaka Smart saying that, foul went the other way.
Oh, offensive. Called the offensive foul on Doug Brooks.
That must have happened on a different play from the replay we just saw, Mike. Because Doug Brooks didn't foul anybody in the replay we just saw.
Yeah, Shaka Smart
must have been a different play.
Just as confused as we are.
Wow. The only people that might be more confused than Shaka Smart are the 3 referees on that one. But Doug Brooks, less than 100 minutes so far this year. But Shaka Smart saying in December, if this guy will just stick it out, he's got a chance to be an outstanding player at VCU if he doesn't get frustrated with the lack of playing time and just transfer. And we've had all over the country just so many transfers. Guys want those big minutes right away. Shaka Smart hoping that doesn't happen to Doug Brooks.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they don't do that there, and I don't think that really happens all that much because they just have a system. And they have players. I've been watching this team for over a decade, Stan, and when you look at it, sometimes guys, freshmen, sophomore year, you go, who's this guy? But then, maybe another year, all of a sudden they're a household name in terms of VCU basketball, if you will.
And I think you're right. Doug Brooks made for this style. He'd be wise to just stay right where he is. He's got a chance to be very good. He can shoot the ball, very athletic. And, of course, I like him. He's a Central Florida guy. We actually flew home on the same flight when he was heading home to Christmas break after I had done one of their games. Got to talk to him a little bit. Very nice kid also.
2-second differential shot clock, game clock here as this is Wayne Sparrow. Spins out of trouble, cross-court pass, Nelson Adota. Trey Davis. Davis, count it, and the foul.
That's what Trey Davis can do offensively. He can really attack, and he's a very strong guy. He can take contact and finish. It is going to be important for him to improve his shooting as he moves forward. Look, the future for this Richmond team, we talked yesterday, Mike, very bright, very bright. No seniors, and they've been 5-5 without Lindsay. The whole group coming back next year.
We'll take a quick break and come back for the final 10 seconds after this. Rams with a 15-point advantage. Just 10 seconds to go here in this first half from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Atlantic 10 quarterfinal matchup. Game 3 of 4 today. Winner to the semifinals. One more game after this one. George Washington and UMass coming up in our nightcap here tonight. Foul was on Doug Brooks, the second for him for VCU. 19 foul in the first half. Trey Davis made the basket and now misses the free throw. Here is Graham with 8 seconds left. Trevion Graham. Weber for the first half he's had. See if he caps it off here. Short, Rebound, Mo Alley Cox. That'll do it. Oh, there's a foul. No, there's a foul, says Dwayne Gladden. Hold the phone. Pass not over. Mo Alley Cox on the rebound. And they're calling a foul.
On the rebound here is where they're going to call it. Mo Alley Cox gets to the ball. They call the foul there. Looks like on Terry Allen. But they're reviewing it over there, not to see if it's a foul or not, to see if the foul was before the time expired.
Right.
It was, clearly. Mo Alley Cox should be on the free throw line.
There it is. Wow, with just about 0.2 seconds on the clock.
I think you're right. But I think the foul was before time expired.
It would be Terry Allen's first. 17 foul, but a 2-shot foul, though, for Mo Alley Cox. Here we go.
Mo Alley Cox fights for the ball, goes back up. They call the foul. He didn't get the shot out of his hand, maybe, but that doesn't matter.
Dwayne Gladden's at the bottom of your screen right here. Okay, you see him put his hand up. I mean, it's, you know, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt that he had called it and blew the whistle, because you can't hear it right here, before the red light goes off, because as you see, before his hand goes up, if the clock's at 0, yet he could have blown the whistle beforehand, which I think he did.
Right, and even if he didn't, it's when the foul occurred that matters. He can be a half second late on the call. The foul is before the buzzer. The referees are talking about it. My guess is, because it's 37-22, one of those guys wants to talk him out of it and just let Richmond get into the half, but it's not going to happen. They're telling Chris Mooney right now he's clearly not going to be happy with it, no matter which way it goes.
So Mo Alley Cox goes to the free throw line. They put 0.3 seconds back on the clock. Actually calling the foul on Davis. Trey Davis picks up the foul, his second. Or did they switch it? Let's see. No, they just changed it. Yeah, it was on Allen. So Allen picks up his first. Davis still has one. And Mo Alley Cox makes it 38-22 VCU at halftime.
Look, VCU has been outstanding defensively, both in their press and in the half court, and Briante Weber's taking care of the offense.
Let's go over to David, who's with Shaka Smart.
Shaka, what did you like and what didn't you like about your first half? Because your guys really defended well.
Yeah, I thought we played with very good energy, good focus on the defensive scouting report. Fouled a little bit too much, but Richmond's got good penetrators. They do a good job attacking. We got to do a good job guarding without fouling in the second half.
Briante Weber was outstanding. What'd you like about his game?
Well, he was aggressive. He made some great finishes around the basket. His thing is discipline. If he can play with discipline, then he can stay out of foul trouble. He can stay in the game, and good things will happen.
Have a good second half.
Thank you.
There he is, Shaka Smart. Let's go back to you guys courtside.
All right, how about the defense? Richmond never made consecutive field goals in this first half. VCU leads it at the break, 38-22. Let's go to the college basketball halftime report.
Donnie and Dave back at our NBC Sports studios. A 16-point VCU lead over Richmond. We're talking about Briante Weber, Donnie, the 2-time defending defensive player of the year. He's got some offensive game, too.
He makes you think about him when you have the ball offensively, but now you have to know where he is on the offensive end. 16 points. He's only missed one shot. Richmond starters, 11 points. He's outscored the other team's starting lineup, but it's terrific because you know VCU is going to turn guys over. They only have 5 steals, but they disrupt, and it starts with him.
He was 6 of 6 to start. He was 7 of 8 in the first half. The rebounds are going all VCU's way, 27-11 in the first half. The VCU Rams, as we mentioned, a 16-point lead on the Richmond Spiders. Second half action from Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Coming up next here on NBCSN. Stick around.
VCU trying to advance to the semifinals of the Atlantic 10 Championship. On their way with a 16-point advantage as we get set for the start of the second half. Hi again, everybody. Mike Corey, Stan Van Gundy, David Kaplan in a little bit. How about VCU? Their havoc does it again, up by 16 points, scoring 16 points off Richmond turnovers.
Yeah, look, it's just relentless. They contest every dribble, every pass, every shot. We see it here. Briante Weber on the steal. Then they get this hard trap and force a traveling violation. Trevion Graham coming from the weak side to get a steal. And then another trap leading to a fast break. They come at you all the time. But look, it's been more than just the defense. It's also been their effort on the offensive glass.
Well, it has. They have 12 offensive rebounds to Richmond's 1. And there you see the steals, which is number 1 in the country at 11.5. They got 5 tonight and forcing 10 turnovers. And they're right back to work.
I mean, I look at the stats and I see they've got 16 points off turnovers and 14 second chance points. They've outscored Richmond 30-1 in those two areas.
Led by as many as 19, up by 16 here, and this is Chandre Jones for Richmond. Anthony in that first half, 2 points, 1 for 7 from the field. Allen spinning in and got fouled.
Good call. Reddick got him. A good quick spin baseline. We have seen more of a variety of offensive attacks and moves from Terry Allen in the last 2 days than we saw the entire season. He's on the verge of being an outstanding player at Richmond.
Well, he's one of their guys of the future. A sophomore at Houston, Texas. The career high 27 yesterday. And he has 7 here tonight.
But, you know, he's doing so many things. And look, we've said this is the only team with no seniors in the Atlantic 10. After Cedric Lindsey went down, Derek Williams left the team. All of these guys will be back. They're 5-5 since those seniors are gone. So they've played pretty well in a very good league. Tough day today so far, but a great learning experience. This will help them down the road. The future of Richmond Spider basketball is very bright.
The first 2 games in the quarterfinals today came down to the wire. 3 points in each game. Let's not put anything past Richmond here, although they're down by 15 points. Come up with a couple of plays, like one right here, but you got to just do a better job on the glass. I know it's not their strong suit. But to give VCU too many opportunities at it, as Graham will head back to the free throw line. 12 offensive rebounds. That's just too many in the first half. Too many for a game, period.
Yeah, I mean, they, you know, out-rebounded him by 16.
Derek Kellogg and UMass getting set for number 3, George Washington. That's going to be a great game coming up in our nightcap right here on NBCSN after we are done with VCU and Richmond.
Yeah, the speed and quickness, the athleticism of UMass against George Washington, who might be the best half-court offensive team in the league. George Washington also with a 1-3-1 zone that has bothered a lot of teams in this league. This year, it'll be an interesting contrast in styles again.
Minutemen getting by Rhode Island last night in a battle, kind of a foul fest toward the end of that ball game. Trey Davis called for his second foul for Richmond. It's now 40-23 VCU. Anthony thought about the 3, kicks it for Jones. Jones for 3, yes. Chandre Jones, freshman out of Houston, Texas.
When they get into the half court, you can see that they have a chance to defend VCU pretty well. And that's going to be a question for VCU heading into the NCAA tournament. When they get caught in a half-court game, are they going to be able to score enough, not only to win, but to get them into their pressure defense, to get into the havoc? If you're not scoring, you can't get into your defense.
Allen might have got away with a walk there, but gets the basket off the window for 2. And here we go. Richmond trying to mount the comeback a little bit. Still a deficit of a dozen. Graham up and under. Nice move.
Alonzo Nelson Adota slipped. Trevion Graham slipped in that same spot on a drive about a minute and a half ago. Hopefully somebody will clean that up pretty quickly.
Richmond in the previous 2 possessions stand on the offensive end with back-to-back baskets for the first time tonight. Which tells you about what VCU does defensively to you. Nice jumper there by Anthony.
And another good shot there. We're seeing him get better shots.
Here's the three in the corner. In and out, Rob Brandenburg. Again, tipped right back out, and Brandenburg gets it to Redick.
Just multiple efforts there by VCU. They're just pounding Richmond on the glass. And now they force another turnover as they speed up Chandre Jones. You see here, here's Graham going. Alonzo Nelson Adota slips. They get the basket. But then here, there were just some offensive rebounds. Redick stays with it, misses his own shot, gets back up quickly, and gets it in the basket. And Shaka is always fired up and always firing his team.
I love that when the coach gives props to the players and they're real active with it. You know, sometimes great shots are made or plays are made, and other coaches just kind of stand there, and not Shaka Smart, saying that's what we appreciate, the effort, that's what we're looking for. The crowd brings the effort. Everything's about energy, it just seems like, with this team.
Right, and when you stress energy, you make it part of every part of your program. It starts with you as the coach. You've got to bring energy every day, and that's not easy. But Shaka Smart certainly does it. One of the most energetic people I've ever encountered.
Wild shot there by Redick. Here comes Trey Davis. Allen posting up. Davis has the room for three. Launches. Rebound Redick. Burgess trying to pass it into Redick and threw it out of bounds. Good defense in the post that time by Allen on Redick.
Very good defense and a very bad angle on the pass. Something that takes time to teach guys and for them to learn. He needed to bring the ball over to the wing more, get himself a better angle to make that pass.
The take by Trey Davis, drawing the foul on Redick, and that's going to be Javante Redick's fourth personal foul with 16:16 to play in this game.
I like, though, Richmond more aggressive offensively this half, not standing around on the perimeter. They're on the attack, and as a result, Mike, they're getting better shots.
Tomorrow, Fight Night returns to NBCSN as former world champion Tamaz Anamek slugs it out against Olympic medalist Tsar Glaskov. Tomorrow, 9 Eastern. It's Fight Night right here on NBCSN.
Who are you taking in that one, Mike?
Boy, all these different sports. You know, what am I getting? You give me a point and a half of soccer.
I honestly don't know how to handicap boxing.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
You know, I don't. So we'll have to think about that.
Yeah, give me some time on that one. 15-point VCU lead coming up on 16 minutes left in this contest. Here's Johnson, rejected by Nelson Adota.
It's a very good shot blocker, one of the best in the Atlantic 10.
Allen breaks free to the basket. And timeout taken. VCU wants to talk it over. Shaka Smart talking with Melvin Johnson.
Nice move there by Terry Allen. He continues to impress.
Third game of 4 in the Atlantic 10 quarterfinals. VCU by 13. Let's go back a few years to 2011 when the Richmond Spiders won the Atlantic 10 championship. Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City.
Always exciting. I've said to people, one of their best players on that team, Justin Harper, ended up playing his rookie season in the NBA for us in Orlando. Talked about how exciting that was. It was a big moment in his life, one he'll never forget. These conference tournaments produce great excitement. Every year, we've seen our share of it already today.
Yeah, a couple great scorers from last year and players for Richmond. Darian Brothers and Greg Robbins, the graduation. Now this year with the loss of Cedric Lindsey to injury for the rest of the season, and Derek Williams, their other lone senior who left the team. So it's going to be a new look Richmond team, but they're getting their first look at it right now because these are all the guys that'll be back for next year. And they're competing as Mo Alley Cox throws it down.
Mo Cox, much stronger than Alonzo Nelson Adota, much bulkier, just backed him under the rim and went up and dunked. VCU just has so many guys that can run in and out of the game and are productive.
Allen trying to post up against Cox. Mo Cox has it. He squares up. Jones for three. VCU ball.
Mo Cox here again just takes Nelson Adota, puts him right under the rim, and goes up and dunks on him.
Timeout in Brooklyn. We'll be back. VCU 46, Richmond 31 in the Atlantic 10 quarterfinals.
Shaka Smart says a huge theme for his club is staying connected, everyone being on the same page. To that end, a different bench player every game wears this enormous chain around his neck. He said, it's connected, we stay connected. It's Andrevius Simmons tonight, a redshirt freshman. Back to you guys.
Good story, Dave.
You have to weight train, don't you, Mike, to be able to wear that chain? I mean, like if I put that thing on, I wouldn't be able to keep my head up all night. I mean, and watch the game. So, I mean, I think you have to have conditioning just to be the guy to wear the chain.
You got to get a massage after that, right? It's gonna pull on the shoulders, right, and the upper back.
I'm really curious. I actually am very curious. I'd like to know how much that thing weighs.
It's not one of those fake ones, right?
No, there's no way. Nothing Shaka does is fake.
So you could wear the fake one, you'd be okay. Here's Jaquan Lewis. Inside doesn't go. Mo Cox doing everything. Fouled on the rebound.
Mo Cox is just a beast inside, working hard, doing a little bit of the Moses Malone, though. You know, Moses always wanted to up his rebounding total, so he would throw up a shot, miss it on purpose, grab his own, get it back, and still score, but he gets an extra rebound. I think that's what Mo Cox was doing right there.
That's 18 offensive rebounds now for Richmond in this ball game.
VCU, a tough team to play at any time, but when you've had to play the night before and they've had a week off, it gets very, very difficult to play this team. But I think VCU's style, Mike, probably makes them the favorite in this tournament because they use so many people. They run so many guys in and out of the lineup. Nobody has to play big minutes. So if they have to go 3 straight days, that's fine. They'll be able to do it. In the NCAA tournament, the real problem playing VCU is very few teams play this style. These are teams in the Atlantic 10 who are used to seeing it. They're going to run into people in the tournament who've never seen it before. And if it's on the second night of a weekend, they're going to have 1 day to prepare for this. I think that makes VCU a big threat in the NCAA tournament.
That's a good point. Very good point. Lewis with his second foul for VCU a little while ago. 3rd team foul. 2 team fouls in the Spiders in this second half. 17-point lead. Trying to make it 20. Brandon Berg does that. 3-pointer, largest lead of the night for VCU, 51-31.
The other thing is if you're getting ready for VCU, you cannot simulate this in practice. You can, I don't care who you've got. Can you imagine taking your second unit and saying, okay, we're going to go out and do havoc? Havoc is developed day by day throughout the off season, through all of your practices. You can't just come out and do havoc. It takes great preparation, and so you can't even really practice against this. And if you're not a team in the Atlantic 10 that sees it year after year, you don't know what you're getting into.
Shaka Smart, in his opening press conference when he was hired at VCU, says, quote, "We will wreak havoc on our opponent's psyche and plan of attack." And that's where they got that from. And they've done it ever since he's been there 5 years now as he's been the head coach.
And 135 wins. That's incredible enough. But VCU basketball, we're not talking Duke or Carolina. VCU basketball has become a brand.
Yep.
Havoc, everyone knows about it. There's not a player in this country, a high school player, thinking about college that doesn't know about Havoc and doesn't know about VCU.
Burgess picked up his first foul for the Rams, but Richmond unable to convert. Down 20 points here, under 13 minutes to go. And they just got funding for a new $25 million basketball complex for both men's and women's basketball. VCU did. So it's just going to continue to expand and extend what they already do. Nelson Adoda finishing with a dunk.
Nice feed from Kendall Anthony, who's been much more effective penetrating this half. Makes a nice drop-off pass.
It's a new practice facility and a lot more for men's and women's basketball at VCU. Just announced not that long ago. They sell out their building, Verizon Wireless Arena at the Stuart C. Siegel Center in Richmond. 50 straight sellouts. 15-0 at home as Weber scores.
And this is basically a home game for them and will be the rest of this weekend. I think they brought all of those people that come to home games with them here to the Barclays Center.
Anthony knocks down a long jumper for the Spiders. It was a 3, and the referees motioned over to the scorer's table. They're going to check it at the media timeout to see if his foot was on the line or not. Can do that throughout the game on calls that are close to being either a 2 or 3 foot on the line, and they'll confirm it. There's clearly a 3 from Johnson, but it doesn't go.
And I like how Richmond's played in this second half. They haven't caved in. They're playing very hard and very effectively.
Burgess getting the block. Weber kicks back to Burgess.
He gets the block, and Briante Weber rewards him with a wide-open 3, and he makes it.
6th three-pointer of the night. First for Burgess, 1 for 2. Anthony.
Kendall Anthony just continues to compete. You gotta love his heart. Smallest guy on the floor, listed at 5'8". I watched him in pregame when they were lined up for the anthem. They have a walk-on, Zach Chu, who's also listed at 5'8", and is clearly taller than Kendall Anthony. But this guy continues to compete. He's got a team down 20 points here. He's continuing to drive the ball and be aggressive. He only knows one way to play.
Inside the Mo Alley Cox, a hold and a foul on Wayne Sparrow. Burgess now getting into the mix from the outside, shooting the 3 ball.
Briante Weber, a nice pass.
Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn. We'll be back with more of the A10 quarterfinals right after this. VCU by 20, having no real trouble here tonight in the quarterfinals. Shaka Smart, look at that, 135 wins. These are the most coaching wins in 5 seasons, folks. He's going to, well, could really break that this year, don't you think?
Well,
possibly.
Look, here's what he has to do. He's got to win this tournament. That would get him to 137, okay? Right? 138.
Yeah.
And then he's got to get to the Sweet 16. If he can win his first 2 games in the NCAA tournament, he'll have 140. Our producer, Kevin Smolin, of course, remembers the second guy on that list, Everett Case. I'm sure he watched his teams at North Carolina State play fairly frequently.
You're all over it tonight. We got jabs on our sideline guy, David Capo, tonight, our producer. I'm waiting for something for me.
No, you're my buddy, Mike.
Okay.
You're my buddy. No. Plus, I don't have the guts to do it to somebody sitting right next to me. I got to get people behind their back. Yes.
Yeah. Shaka Smart. His contract through 2028. By the way, I mean, is that just crazy? You know, to lock somebody up for that amount of time. I mean, you wonder. I mean, hey, this is one of the best leagues in the country. There's 6 teams here with 20 or more wins, a possibility of 6 going to the NCAA tournament. You can win here. You play tough competition every year. You're nationally ranked. I mean, I'm not quite sure, having a contract for that long and with the security and building a new facility for you, that you really want to go anywhere else at this point right now?
No, look, and Shaka Smart hasn't. But it's like with anybody. Once he's conquered this world, the Atlantic 10, I mean, he's going to set the record or be very close to what anybody's done in 5 years. I have a feeling at some point that Shaka Smart may get to where he just wants a different challenge to see if he can do it somewhere else under different circumstances.
Graham, fouled by Anthony, working his way inside.
And Shaka doesn't get enough credit as an X and O guy either. I'm telling you, I've watched teams at every level have considerable trouble with switching defenses. I love what he's done, putting Trevion Graham up top against the small Richmond guards and let him go at them and use his size in the lane. It's brilliant.
Third foul on Anthony for Richmond. As we remind you on Sunday, the NHL is on NBC Sports. First, the Flyers and the Penguins at 12 Eastern at NBC's Game of the Week. Then the Red Wings and the Blackhawks face off in Chicago at 7 o'clock Eastern on NBC SM. Let's not forget, too, Shaka Smart's 36 years old. He'll turn 37 on April 8th.
I can't even remember when I was that age, Mike.
Lost in all this is really the job that Chris Mooney has done for Richmond. Let's not forget about that as this jumper goes down for Chandre Jones. This team won the Atlantic 10 in 2011. They are without their only 2 seniors for the rest of the way this year. They're still at 19 and 13. It's been an admirable effort by these guys this season.
Oh, yeah, and look, they're going to be playing next week also. It's not going to be in the NCAA tournament probably, but it's going to be in the NIT. And again, we see the Trevion Graham back down from the top. But look at the Terry Allen we already see developing into a star for Richmond. Chandre Jones getting a lot of playing time and looking good here, getting an opportunity. Alonzo Nelson at Dota showing flashes. Trey Davis, very athletic. If he can improve his shooting, can be a very good player. There's a bright future here. And one of the best coached teams in the Atlantic 10.
Burgess going into the Richmond sideline, fighting for that one. It'll stay with the Spiders.
Look, this is the VCU culture, and here's the thing. Everybody plays so hard that you can't get on the court for VCU if you don't play at maximum intensity, because everyone else is. So there's plenty of choices down that bench of guys who will come out and play hard if you don't want to do it. And so the competition, as it always does, fuels better play.
Here's Nelson and Dota. Allen lost it. Jarius Lyles comes up with it for VCU. Winner of this game takes on the winner of George Washington and UMass coming up right after us here on NBCSN, the final game of the day, as we are under the 8-minute mark. And that's going to be a battle tonight between those two, the Colonials and the Minutemen. Foul in Richmond takes us to a timeout. We'll be back to Brooklyn. VCU well in command, 56-38 over Richmond, trying to earn a trip to the semifinals. Brooklyn Battery Tunnel as VCU and into Manhattan here as VCU leads it big time. Yeah, remember that 2011 when fans and everyone across the country was irate that they put VCU into the tournament because they did not win the CAA that year, in which the league that they were in, and then all of a sudden they go to the Final Four.
Yeah, I think
the Sweet 16 and that Final Four.
Yeah, I think the selection committee made the right choice, I would say.
Yeah.
Look, they're a tough team to play in a tournament setting. You have limited preparation time, especially if you're the team that gets them on the second night. You got 1 day in between. You haven't played against anything like this And here's the other thing is, normally when you're doing preparation for your opponent, you're spending the majority of time on your defense, how you're going to guard, what your opponent runs on offense. VCU forces you to spend virtually all of your time on your offense, which helps VCU offensively because you don't have the time to prepare for them that you would other opponents.
Burgess with the foul, his second. And there's Deion Taylor. Allen fighting for it. Back in Allen against Guest. And a foul on Guest from behind. Free throws coming up once again. All right, so George Washington and UMass in the next game stand. VCU more than likely, unless they squander this 17-point advantage here with just over 7 minutes to go. Moving on, we shall see. But who do you like, and who do you, depending who that is in the next game, how does VCU match up against either George Washington or UMass if they end up winning this game?
Well, UMass will go up and down with VCU. That'll be a matchup, would be a matchup of probably the two most athletic, two quickest teams in the Atlantic 10. You'd get a lot of up and down action. George Washington would try to slow the tempo with their 1-3-1 zone, which they had success doing the first time they met. But the second time you and I were together, when they played, they simply could not handle the pace of the game or the havoc. If they could keep it slow, George Washington would have a chance. They are an excellent half-court team at both ends.
15-point ball game. Yeah, that was in the snowstorm down in Richmond.
Yeah,
you got stuck there.
Drove out that night.
We got out of Dodge.
I got stuck and ended up with a 12-hour drive home to Orlando the next night. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
This winter needs to be over. Everybody up in the East Coast, they've really struggled with it this year, there's no doubt. 7 minutes left in this game, 15-point lead. There's Lyles. Lyles got it stripped by Chandre Jones. Jones looking ahead of the pack, and it's intercepted by Melvin Johnson. No look pass to Lyles.
See, those are the turnovers, though, that Chandre Jones will not make a year from now. He's getting experience in this situation. It's a rough night. It's a painful night for Richmond, but it can be a very valuable night as they look to the future.
It is one of the younger teams in America, really, at this point now. Kendall Anthony, Wayne Sparrow, the only juniors that see significant action for Richmond, and no seniors left on the roster. GW warming up, getting ready for UMass in the final matchup of the quarterfinals today from Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. We'll have it for you right here on NBCSN.
It'll be a good one. I love games where you get contrasting styles and try to figure out who can control the tempo of that game. If UMass can get the game going up and down, they're certainly the favorite. If GW can get it to be played half court, then I'll take GW.
There was Cedric Lindsey. Would love to have him, the senior out of Washington, D.C., out since February 1st when they played VCU. Tore his meniscus in both knees. He's their leading scorer, over 18 points a game, so they're missing him and his leadership. Derek Williams, a senior from Harlem, New York, left the team after that game on February 1st for personal reasons. He was averaging about 5.8 points a game, so that's a lot to replace, and that late in the season to just try to change things up. Makes it difficult on you. 6 minutes to go. Nelson Adota for three. Rebound Guest.
I can guarantee you in their off-season skill work that Richmond will be spending a lot of time shooting the ball. Chris Mooney has had very good shooting teams throughout his time at Richmond. This is the worst perimeter shooting team he has had. They need to work on that area, and I'm sure they will. Johnson,
Floater for two. Just saw the graphic, about 13 forced turnovers by VCU tonight. 7 steals, 4 blocks. So many different hustle plays and make a difference plays, if you will, that show up with the way this team plays.
I like what I'm seeing from Chandre Jones. It's been a difficult night, but he's still competing, handling the ball against the press, penetrating, big steal right there and a pull-up three. Look, these are the things that are going to pay dividends for Richmond going forward.
That's a nice shot by Jones. He grew up in Richmond, ended up moving to Texas, to Houston. Freshman at 5'10", 155. A very big bright spot for them for next year. Got a lot of action, a significant amount of time for him this season. And you're right, Stan. I mean, it's a team that, has to kind of regroup a little bit. We'll get some guys coming in. They're learning to play with each other now with the group that they have right now without the seniors. And this is just going to help them moving forward for next year. And Chris Mooney's going to have them ready to go. I mean, they're one win away from a 20-win season after all that. Teams would love to have 20 wins. And they're dealing with adversity, and they're still getting it done.
Absolutely. Look, it's been a tough year for them from an injury standpoint, but they've hung in there just like they're hanging in there tonight in this game. This game could have gone to 25 or 30 and would have with a lot of teams, but they're hanging in. It's a 14-point game.
Not insurmountable, but a VCU team that is very tough to come back on, especially when they do build it up into the double digits.
Yeah, it's not easy. Let's certainly don't expect to see them come all the way back, but they've shown tremendous competitiveness, and they have the poise of their head coach, Chris Mooney. And so they don't let bad moments take away from their effort. That's an admirable quality. Great resolve on the part of Richmond.
Just the second year for VCU in the Atlantic 10. They went to the championship game last year, lost to St. Louis 62-56. Spinning shot by Johnson doesn't go, got his own rebound and a foul.
We can talk about havoc all we want, and it's certainly been a factor in this game, but the biggest factor in this game has been VCU's offensive rebounding. They've absolutely worn Richmond out on the glass.
And 22 second chance points for VCU tonight.
You cut that in half and you've got a ball game here.
Shaka likes it. Fouls on Jones, his first for Richmond. Nelson Adota fighting with Burgess for it. Jump ball over to VCU.
Now here's my question. I got one question left. So the chain goes on a different guy every night. So if this is a blowout at the end and he goes in the game, who wears the chain, or does he have to play with it on?
I don't know if he can do that.
Okay, you're probably right. So he has to give it to somebody under the Shaka wear it if he goes in the game?
Would that be funny? He gives it to Shaka. Well, this is Entrevius Simmons. He's a redshirted freshman. He's redshirting this year. He's at 6'9", 250 out of Miami, Florida.
So he's not going to go in.
No, he's not going to go in. So
does he have to wear it every night? I thought Dave said it's a different guy every night. So if it's being worn by somebody who can play, maybe they just give it to him if they go in the game. I don't know.
There's only like 3 players that don't see action that they have to rotate it through. Here's Guest. Jared Guest for 2.
In his recruiting, does Shaka look for a couple of guys with really strong necks just to play that role? Yeah, Mo Alley Cox probably would not even notice that it were on his neck. It only weighs about 100 pounds.
And with that, we'll step aside. 3:49 left here in this one from Brooklyn. VCU looking to punch their ticket to the semifinals. We'll be back. $65-47. VCU on top by 18. Let's go over to David Kaplan.
One thing that VCU does to get their guys in shape is a brutally tough conditioning program. And part of that, they spend a week in SEAL training. In fact, former SEAL John McGuire here tonight. He puts the entire team, that includes SID That includes the managers, the secretaries, everyone goes through a week of SEAL training, and that's how they wind up their preseason as they get ready for practice. One other quick question. Stan Van Gundy, you've been around a long time. What defense did your teams employ when you coached against Wilt and Bill Russell?
All right, now we're getting into the age thing. I mean, I saw those guys play, but never had the opportunity to coach against them. I'm pretty glad I didn't. Those guys were impossible to stop.
David's just trying to get you back a little bit, Stan, after you compared him to Phil Martelli in our previous game. But he looks like...
Well, Shaka Smart employing the same hairstyle. I think Dave Kaplan's a fashion icon, and people are catching on to his hairstyle.
Lewis with a basket for the Rams, up 20 points here. Going up on 3 minutes left. And they just continue to run, don't they? VCU, 20-point lead. Trying to wind down 2:45 and get set to take on the winner of George Washington and UMass coming up right after this game. Interception, Deion Taylor. Sparrow frees himself up. And the tip no good by Jones.
It's all about for VCU trying to win an A10 tournament title and what kind of seeding they can get in the tournament right now as Jaquan Lewis takes a very hard fall.
Hit hard by Nelson Adota. Well, let's talk about that. Let's hope Lewis is okay. He's trying to shake it off here. Adota comes right into him, and he lands right on his side. How about the seed, potential seed that VCU will get in the NCAA tournament? What do you think? They're ranked number 23 in the country now, finally into the top 25. Going to be 25-7 after this one here today.
I think this. I think if they win the A10 tournament, they'll be a 5 seed and possibly a 4 seed. Could even move up. If they don't win the tournament, they are probably a 6 seed. Now, if they get to the championship game and lose, they could possibly still be a 5 seed. I don't see them any lower than 6 than any event. They've got a great body of work this season. They've done very, very well. And missed Shaka Smart a little bit on that last sequence, but Jaquan Lewis goes down. He looks over at Shaka, and Shaka gives him the double bicep flex and just basically saying, be strong. These VCU guys are tough, and they keep coming at you for 40 minutes. Makes them very difficult to play against.
Mo Alley Cox says, get that out of there. Melvin Johnson up to Burgess, back to Johnson for 3. Exclamation point for the Rams. Anthony. And here's Torrey Burston in for the first time, the redshirted freshman, 15th game of the season. Guest with a long jumper. Jones gets it up to Nelson Adota, who lays it in for 2 for the Spiders. Think about this. VCU, one of 8 teams in the nation to win at least 1 game in the NCAA tournament the last 3 straight years. You may think there's more. There's only 8. We're one of them. And that's consistency, at least 1 win in the tournament, 3 straight.
That's tremendous accomplishment. Look, it's tough to get into the tournament, and then to win against those kind of quality teams, very, very difficult. This has become one of the elite programs in the country, and one of the few that is really a brand. Chandre Jones, look, he's been impressive. You know, as a freshman playing in this game, and he's gotten better as the game gone on. He's shown more and more confidence. he can build on this game. Strong NIT for him, let's hope. And this team's going to be heard from in the future.
Foul on Burston that time for VCU as Jones does another. So Shaka Smart's wife Maya and daughter Zora, 2.5 years old.
She seems very happy. You know, Mike, most kids, as they're growing up, their first word is either mama or dada. Zora's first word was happy.
That would be so funny if that was the case.
Like, I wonder, like, does she have that kind of intensity at home?
Probably.
Is she moving around at 100 miles an hour all the time?
Well, watching this kind of action night in and night out, maybe so. You pick up a lot as you're a young kid, right?
Absolutely.
Burston. Nelson Adota with just 10 seconds left here in this one. VCU. Allen for 2 after his career-high 27 yesterday. And that's about going to do it. So VCU convincingly 71-53 over Richmond to advance to the semifinals. Spiders dropped to 19-14 on the season, and VCU now 25-7 and 136 wins in the last 5 years of Shaka Smart as they move on to the semifinals. They were in the title game last year, lost to St. Louis. Won't have to contend with the Billikens. They lost to St. Bonaventure earlier today. St. Joe's moves on. VCU and the winner of tonight's UMass George Washington game to complete the 4 in the semifinals here in Brooklyn.
Should be a great one.
Let's go over to David Kaplan.
Shaka, your team defended well tonight, but the battle of the boards, you win 53-26. What did you like best about the way your team played?
I think we played with great effort, but our guys played together, had very good focus on the defensive game plan. Richmond's got some good players. They've got a good system. I thought our guys did a good job staying focused on what we were trying to do.
To make a deep run and win a national championship, what does this team have to do better going forward?
We're just trying to win our next game, so we're not really thinking about that right now. We're trying to win our semifinal game in the Atlantic 10 tournament, but we got to keep getting better. You know, I think this time of year, the teams that are getting better and playing their best basketball are the teams that advance.
Last thing, this Atlantic 10 conference might see as many as 7 teams in. You don't know. Your thoughts on the depth of the league?
Yeah, I think it's a terrific league. I think there's so many teams in this league that have the ability to knock other teams off, as evidenced by St. Bonaventure's win earlier today. That's what happens in this league. Everybody beats up on each other, but I think we're going to be well represented in the NCAA tournament.
Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
That's Shaka Smart. Let's go back to Mike and Stan.
All right, David, so VCU wins at 71-53. Briante Weber with 18 points to lead the way for the Rams. 14 for Graham, and Melvin Johnson had 13. They were plus 25 in the rebounding margin. Do what they do best, steal the ball, scored in transition, and the Rams are one of 3 teams already in the semifinals. Who will be the next one? UMass and George Washington. That's coming up next. But first, let's head back to the studio for a college basketball update.
Welcome into the college basketball update at our NBC Sports Studios alongside former UConn standout and NBA veteran who also does Navy SEAL training, much like VCU. He's Donnie Marshall.
I don't really talk much about that, but thank you.
Yeah, but it's obvious. I'm Dave Briggs. Look, David Kaplan just said a potential for 7 teams in the Atlantic 10 in the tournament, but if you do the math, a lot of people had 6 already in, Donnie, and if the St. Bonaventure Bonnies run the table, that's an automatic bid. Imagine that, 7 teams.
That's impossible. You know what? Throw my daughter's AAU team in there, too, in some conference. There's just not enough room, and I understand people want their teams in, and there will be a lot of talk, why didn't this team get in? The first thing I look at on that Monday, once the selection show, and you step back and you start to figure out who's going to be in your bracket, I look to see who's out. Those last teams that did not make it in, because that's the most intriguing to me, because you can make an argument when a team like St. Bonaventure extends play. If they win the conference tournament, they may be in, but who's going to be out? You have to say Dayton would be a team that's probably hurt.
Dayton, but VCU is clearly a team that's
no
in.
question.
And are they the team that looks like they really want to and will win this conference tournament?
It's interesting. Shaka Smart said something that every coach wants to be talking about this time of year. We're getting better, And the teams that are getting better, even today, are the teams that are going to advance. And his team showed today that they are getting better. I understand throughout the season this team can't continue to play that havoc style. It's a long season. You wear guys down. But they pick their spots, and this is the right spot to be in, to pick, if you will, to be able to be playing the right way.
The last time these two teams met, Richmond led VCU at the break. Nothing like that this time around because VCU laid down a strong statement early on, and there was Spike Lee taking in the action. He's a little bit down about the Knicks, but happy Phil Jackson's coming to town. Briante Weber, the two-time Defensive Player of the Year, he can play some offense, Donnie.
He didn't even have to play in the second half. I mean, he had 16 points. He was 7 of 8 at halftime. And this is the interesting thing about VCU. They forced 10 turnovers only in 20 minutes of play.
Spike Lee was all fired up. 71-53. Weber finished 8 of 10 on the field, 18 points. Look at a couple of numbers when you peek at this game. 49, no, they hit 50 rebounds. 50 rebounds did VCU, almost doubling up Richmond in that capacity. And as a team, they get 7 assists. Total domination from start to finish for VCU.
Well, again, we talked about all day what you need to advance, what you need to play well this time of year. You need a guard who can get you buckets. You need a guy who can get people into their spots. You also need a go-to scorer. We saw that in Briante Weber. Now you need a big inside to be able to dominate or really take up some space. Mo Alley Cox was that guy, and he continues to be that guy. When everyone's focused on the perimeter of what VCU is doing, knocking down shots, whatever it may be, he can control the inside.
And the teams, Donnie, you look out for in the bracket are the ones that have momentum come this time of year, like VCU. The teams like St. Louis, on the other hand, seem to have that momentum slipping away. The top seed St. Louis taking on the Bonnies of St. Bonaventure earlier on. An outstanding game was this one. Matthew Wright was dialed in from long distance, overcoming a 13-point lead for St. Louis, Don.
St. Bonaventure took great care of the basketball, only 11 turnovers. They spread the ball around. Besides this play right here, which is a pretty good contest, they played terrific defense down the stretch.
Dwayne Evans was 3 of 15 from 3 before that, a huge one. But Charlon Kloof to Jordan Gathers, the nephew of Hank Gathers, for the winner. He had 5 points in the game, 3 huge ones there. 71-68 is your final, so the Bonnies pull off a stunner. Move into the A10 semis. After the game, David Kaplan caught up with the jubilant St. Bonaventure head coach.
Mark, your thoughts on the final seconds. What did you tell your guys? You hit 2 late threes to win the ball game and to take the lead with the other.
I told Jordan to hit a 3. That's what I told him. No, we just want to keep our poise. We gave up a 3. We made a mistake, but our guys bounced back. And it was really, the game, all season we haven't had a great job finishing, but we finished today. We got down by 10. We showed some character, some gut, and that's what you need.
Last shot, what is going through your mind? Because it looked like Kloof was going to take the shot, and then Endoy set a great screen.
Yeah, we wanted to set a screen, but we really wanted to slip the screen and then have someone pull off of Matthew, and either Shalon takes it to the basket or we shoot a 3. And it got a little bit, we didn't work it as well as we needed to, but Jordan made a big shot. It looked good right from the very beginning.
Is there any better time on a sports calendar than March and the dream's alive?
This is it. We did it 2 years ago, and hopefully we can play well tomorrow and give ourselves another chance.
Best of luck to you.
Thanks so much.
There he is, Mark Schmidt. Let's go back to the studio.
Coach mentioned tomorrow they get the winner of Dayton and St. Joe's, the Flyers and Hawks. A brilliant back and forth. Langston Galloway, 31 points. He can fill it up, Donnie.
Yeah, and St. Joe's overcame shooting 42% from the field because they did the job at the free throw line, getting there 11 more times in Dayton.
Matt Kavanaugh, good look there. Dayton,
where's the push-off?
That was a no call and a controversial one. It was a shot to win it for Dayton. They took the 3 instead of getting it inside for 2, 70-67. Was it a good no call, allowing Langston Galloway to get away with a bit of a push-off there, Donnie?
Anytime a player extends that arm, to me, it's an easy call, and refs cannot change the way they call the game just because it's late. You can't swallow the whistle. Be consistent throughout.
Archie Miller's going to sit there Sunday night as they await their fate, thinking about that call. So St. Joe's beats Dayton for the 3rd time this year, which should be enough to send them to the big dance as we take a look at your A10 championship bracket. The Bonnies will take on St. Joe's. Coming up next is UMass and George Washington. The winner will take on Shaka Smart's VCU team. But up next, highlights from the Big Ten tournament. Michigan survives a scare and a crazy comeback. When we come back, the college basketball update. Stick around.